Hello students, welcome to APG Pathshala. I am Dr. Hemant Sharma from MIT University, Haryana. Today we are going to talk on module Decision Trees, Analytical Approach to Decision Problems under the paper Quantitative Techniques for Management Decisions. Dear students, after studying this module, you would be able to learn how to construct a decision tree using the given information. You would also be able to understand how to calculate the expected payoff for the different outcomes. And most importantly, you would be able to learn how to select an optimal strategy under the given circumstances. Dear students, decision tree, it is a very important quantitative technique that is used very frequently in the decision making problems. Basically, it may be understood as a sequential decision making. In the previous two modules, we have considered the situation where decision maker was required to take an optimal decision on the basis of the available information only at a particular point of time. But here we will take into account the situation which involves multiple stages. It is also known as a sequential decision making problem. The situation portrays a sequence of decisions in which each decision is followed by a chance outcome that in turn influences the next decision. In students, it's very important to understand that in a sequential decision situation, we have to evaluate decisions proceeding in a backward manner. I repeat it, in a sequential decision situation, we need to evaluate the decision proceedings in a backward manner. First, we evaluate the decisions which are taken on the later stages, and obviously the decision that has been taken at the last, that would be evaluated at the first. So if I say in brief, when analyzing the decision tree or a sequence of decisions, we will be moving from right to left. We would be solving the decision, analyzing the decision that is taken at the last, then second last, then third last, then fourth last, like this. At the end, we would be analyzing the decision that was taken initially. That is initially optimal decision making. In sequential decision making, decision tree is very effective tool in hands of the business managers. It is also termed as decision flow diagrams. With the help of decision tree, decision makers can view all elements pertaining to that problem in a systemic manner. Decision tree includes each and everything relevant to your decision. So now I would like to tell you something about the decision tree. So when I would be explaining it in detail, I would be telling you that it is basically, it is a graphic representation of the chronological sequence of the action and outcome combinations which are available to the decision maker. So basically, a decision tree is showing all possible strategies and their outcomes in a chronological order. And it is a very systemic way to show all possible strategies and outcomes. Each sequence is shown by a distinct path through the tree. Every sequence of strategy and outcome is shown by a distinct path in the tree. And second important thing is the criteria which is usually used in decision tree analysis to make the decision is expectation principle, which we have already talked about in the previous model. Therefore, we select the decision that is maximizing our expected revenues, expected payoffs, expected profits, or alternatively minimizing the expected costs. So, decision making with the decision tree is using the expected payoff criteria. And third important thing is decision tree usually offers a visual tool comprising of the key elements of the problem. So you can understand it easily that since decision tree is a graphical representation of all strategies, outcomes, and other relevant parameters of the decision, so you can understand all the things easily just by having an eye on the network or the decision tree. The next important thing is decision tree depicts the choice and uncertainties facing a single decision maker. Single decision maker means decision making group or a company taking a decision. It is resembling to the what to do in a decision tree. Every decision is represented by a square node that is usually a box, and for each decision the alternative choices are represented as branches emanating from the decision node that is a box, and these all branches are potential actions which are available to the decision maker. So it is important to note here that every branch that is emanating from every box is representing a choice available before the decision maker. And lastly, for each uncertain event, the possible alternatives outcome are represented as branches emanating from a chance node labeled with their respective probabilities. So here I have used a term chance node. Chance node, it is representing an uncertain situation that would be explained with the help of a example in the same module. Now every state of nature, or I can say the every outcome, is a possible resolution of uncertainty that is represented by every chance node. You will see later on that every chance node is represented by a circle, and outcome gives a possible solution to that chance node or for that uncertain condition. And in due course we will specify the probabilities for each of the states of nature and create a probability distribution to explain uncertainty at the chance node. After having explained expected payoff for every outcome and uncertainty at each chance node, then finally the optimal course of action is selected. The decision trees with the help of an example, but before that, as you can see in this diagram, that whenever we are to take any decision, obviously we need to consider lot of factors, lot of parameters, and as the number of parameters increase, our decision making tends to become more and more complex. But it is also necessary to consider all possible parameters and the factors in our decision making if we are really willing to take a correct decision. So it's a great challenge for the decision makers how to handle so many parameters, dimensions for a better decision making. So if we talk about the process of building the decision tree, so I have already told you that as far as analysis of decision tree is concerned, it is always done from right to left or from last to start. And the process of building the decision tree, you know, as far as building the decision tree is concerned, it is started from left to right or from the top to bottom. First of all, we need to determine the essential decisions and the uncertainties under the given circumstances, and then we need to put all decisions and uncertainties in the appropriate chronological sequence, and then we need to begin the tree with a decision node, that is usually a box that represents the first decision, and then we will select a representative number of possible choices for the decision nodes. It means we would be selecting the possible choices for the decision node. For each choice, we will draw a chance node representing the first uncertain event that follows the initial decision. And after that, we will select a representative but not necessarily exhaustive number of possible states for the chance node, and then we will continue to expand the tree with additional decision nodes and chance nodes until the overall outcome can be evaluated. You need not to worry, the complete process will be explained with the help of an example later on. So as far as analyzing the decision tree is concerned, so at this stage I would like to add only one or two things, that analysis is done from last to start or from right to left. The decision that is taken at the last stage, that needs to be resolved first, and the decision that has been taken at the beginning, that should be addressed at the last. And at decision node we calculate, and while taking the decision in the decision tree, at every decision node we finally calculate the largest expected payoff to determine the best action, and this process of making the calculation is known as the rolling back the tree. Rolling back the tree means we are analyzing the tree to give us the best decision. Now, as you can see in this slide, that decisions, they can be good, they can be bad, so they can be positive, they can be negative. So here one thing is important to understand for you, that decisions are taken today and we don't know what would be their results at that point of time. The outcome or the results of your decisions will be appearing after a certain period of time, and at that time you will come to understand that you took a right decision or you took a wrong decision. So as far as the decision making process is concerned, it's a very difficult process, since you are not aware of the outcomes of your decision at the time of taking the decisions. Outcome lies in the future, and future is full of uncertainties. You can't predict the future with 100% accuracy, so obviously your outcomes and you can say results of your decisions are also unpredictable. So quality of decision, it is a different issue, but here we are concerned only with the decision making. We want to take a decision, we want to take a right decision. For that we are trying to include maximum possible parameters or the dimensions in our decision making, and this will be done with the help of the decision tree. Now we will try to understand the concept of the decision tree with the help of the example that you see in this slide. So here you can see that a FMCG company has developed a new product. It has now three choices: either to launch it in market directly, or launch after 6 months of heavy sales promotion, or launch after 4 months after pilot testing. So at the outset, company has the choice to conduct pilot testing for 4 months or to carry out 6 months heavy sales promotion under the given conditions. Company estimates that there is a 60-40 chance of showing success. Now, whether the tests show the possibility of ultimate success or not, or even if no tests are undertaken at all, the company could still pursue its advertising, or you can say promotion program, or alternatively launch the product immediately. After the pilot testing, if it goes with advertising program, the likelihood of final success or failure is considered depending on the foregoing stages. Therefore, if successful testing has been carried out, the expectation of success in advertising program is given by 70-30. If the testing is failed, then the expectation of success in advertising program is given by 15-85. If no pilot testing is carried out, the expectation of success in advertising program is given by 50-50. So after we have completed the cost benefit analysis for all possible outcomes, the net present value of each outcome is directly given to you as below. As you can see in this slide, that in case of success, the outcome with pilot testing, net present value 80 lakhs, without pilot testing 90 lakhs. In case of failure, and when your outcome is with pilot testing, loss of 30 lakhs, without pilot testing, loss of 20 lakhs, or if company thinks to launch it directly, immediately, pilot testing shows success 55 lakhs, pilot testing shows failure 10 lakhs, and without pilot testing, it is going to bring net present value profits equivalent to net present value 40 lakhs. Now our purpose is to take a decision whether to launch the product directly or launch it after a heavy sales promotion of 6 months, or first go for the pilot testing and then take a decision pertaining to the advertisement or sales promotion, or launch it directly in the market. So obviously we wish to take a decision that is going to the payoffs of the company or the profits of the company. So with the help of the decision tree, we can include all possibilities as given in the question. In this slide, you see the decision tree for the given question. It is also known as decision flow diagram. So as I have already discussed with you the process of building the decision tree, so here just for your reminder, I would be narrating the entire process once again. So in this, first of all, we need to determine the essential decisions and the uncertainties in the given situation, and then we need to put the decisions and uncertainties in an appropriate chronological sequence. Then we need to begin the tree with a decision node representing the first decision. After that, we select a representative number of possible choices for the decision node. Here I must tell you that a decision node is always represented by a box. For each choice, draw a chance node representing the first uncertain event that follows the initial decision. Then select a representative number of possible states for the chance node. And then we will continue to expand the tree with additional decision nodes and chances nodes until the overall outcome can be evaluated. Now we will understand the complete process with the help of the given diagram. So in this slide, I have mentioned the complete process of constructing the decision tree. As you can observe that in the above decision tree, square box represents the decision node, circle represents the chance node. Chance node means an uncertainty. Every chance node represents an uncertain environment, so at which outcomes are branched out. At decision node 1, there are 3 branches, as you can observe, which represents 3 alternative decisions like launching immediately, advertising, and then pilot testing. We are to select one out of these 3 decisions. Actually, students, decision making situation is resembling to a what to do situation. Suppose I am to start a business. Now I am thinking to start a business. Now I am concerned with a situation, or you can say where to start the business. So I can start my business in Jaipur, I can start my business in Agra. So whenever I have to take a decision, I have many choices, 2 or more choices. Now which choice is the best one? It depends upon the outcome of that choice. So if we are knowing the outcome of that choice with the certainty, then decision making becomes very easy. But if we are not certain about the outcomes of our choices, then the decision making becomes little bit complex. So in this case, we are trying to take a correct decision when we have multiple outputs, we have multiple decisions, and we are also having the probability values for the different outcomes. Actually, here in decision tree, we are concerned with the sequence of decisions. Now, if company for advertising decides for advertising, there are 2 possible outcomes. It could be successful or it could be failure, that are shown by the branches emanating from circle that is known as chance node with probabilities 0.5 and 0.5 respectively. A profit of rupees 90 lakh would be resulting in case product is successful in market, and a loss of rupees 20 lakh in case product is failed in the market. Now, the second alternative decision at decision node 1 is to go for the pilot testing. That is likely to give positive or negative results with probabilities 0.6 and 0.4 respectively. In case of positive results, we again need to make a choice as to whether launch the product immediately or likely to bring a profit of rupees 55 lakh, or go for advertising that is likely to succeed and fail with probability 0.7 and 0.3 respectively. Therefore, node number 2 is shown by a square box. So similarly, in case of negative results, we need to make a choice as to whether to launch the product immediately, likely to bring a profit of rupees 10 lakh, or go for advertising that is likely to be succeed and fail with probability 0.15 and 0.85 respectively. Therefore, node number 3 is shown by a square box. Now in this diagram, you can see that we have 3 squares, square box 1, 2, 3 boxes which are representing the 3 decisions, and we have a few chance nodes. Chance nodes means uncertain environment, or whether to take it, we are really not knowing it with the existing information. So now our purpose is to remove this uncertainty prevailing at every chance node. Once we will be able to remove the uncertainty at every chance node, we would be able to take the right decision. Now we will try to give the solution to the above problem. So once we have constructed the decision tree, now we will try to analyze the decision tree. Now here it is important to note that though we build the decision tree from left to right to reflect the sequence in which a decision is followed by chance event, we evaluate the tree in the reverse direction. So it is very important to notice that decision tree is built from left to right in a chronological order that follows a sequence in which a decision is followed by a chance event. But it is important to note when it is analyzed, we begin from right to left in reverse direction. Second important thing in the analyzing the decision tree is at each chance node we can compute the expected payoff represented by the probability distribution at the node. This value gets associated with the corresponding action branch of the decision node, which I will show you right now. Then at the decision node, we can calculate the largest expected payoff to determine the best action, and this process of making calculation is known as rolling back the tree. So in fact, the term rolling back is used to analyze the decision tree. So in this slide, you can see that we have two alternatives, advertisement or launch immediately. In case of advertisement, we have two possibilities. It could be successful, whose probability is 0.15, and it could be failure, whose probability is 0.85. Now we are also given with the conditional payoff in case of success of the advertisement, in case of the failure of the advertisement, and we can easily calculate the expected payoff by multiplying the conditional payoff with the probability. So we can calculate the total payoff for the advertisement, that comes to be minus 1.35 lakhs. And similarly, if we go with the second alternative, that is launch immediately, its probability is 1 and conditional payoff rupees 10 lakh. So obviously between both the alternatives, launch immediately alternative is better one, because in this case expected payoff is 10 lakhs. So expected value of launch product immediately is 10 lakhs. Therefore, on the basis of maximization of expected payoff criterion, we will prefer to launch the product immediately. Now I will move to the decision number 2, that is represented by the box number 2. So in this case, again we have two possibilities, two alternatives, and go for the advertisement of 6 months or launch it immediately. So in case of advertisement, the probability of success 0.7, probability of failure is 0.3. We are given with the conditional payoff. We can calculate the expected payoff. The total payoff in case of the advertisement is 47 lakhs, and in case of the launch immediately, total payoff 55 lakhs. So obviously the decision number 2 would be to launch the product immediately because of the maximization of the payoffs. Node number 1, that is main decision. So at node number 1, we have 3 possible choices, alternatives: go for advertising for 6 months, pilot testing, launch immediately. Now we know the probability values for every possibilities. I know the conditional payoffs. You can calculate the expected payoff. So for advertisement, total expected payoff 35 lakhs. For pilot testing, total expected payoff 37 lakhs. And in case of launch immediately, total payoff 40 lakhs. So expected value of launch product immediately is rupees 40 lakhs. Therefore, on the basis of the maximization of the expected payoff criterion, we will prefer to launch the product immediately rather than going for the pilot testing or advertisement program. So as I have already told you that the best strategy is to go with the immediate launch of the product rather than going for this pilot testing or sales promotion or advertisement, because here the profits are the payoffs are the maximum. So this is a self-explanatory diagram. So here you can see that every chance node we are able to give a expected value. It means we are able to remove the uncertainty prevailing at every chance node, and by removing the uncertainty at every chance node we are in a position to take a better decision. So at node number 2 you can see 55 lakh is the maximum payoff, and that comes from the immediate launch of the product. At decision number 3, 10 lakh is the maximum payoff, that again comes from the immediate launch of the product. At decision node number 1, the maximum payoff is 40 lakh, that again comes by the immediate launch of the product. So we will definitely go with the immediate launch of the product. So students, now we can summarize what we have learnt in this module. The decision tree is basically a graphical technique that is usually used to select the best course of action under the given circumstances, and it shows a series of the decisions in a chronological order, and it comprises of all actions and their outcomes and in a sequential manner, and decision maker can have a look over them. Then following the criteria of maximizing the expected payoff, he can select the best course of action. Second important thing, that as far as building the decision tree is concerned, it is constructed from left to right, and in the rollback we are actually analyzing the tree, and in that we start from the right and then move towards the left. And drawing a decision tree requires great expertise and experience, and it involves tedious calculations. However, it is a very good method to find the optimal strategy when there is a series of decisions. Thank you very much.